Yeah, that's a very, very big game coming up in the Premiership. That Aberdeen team, I'll take you through it quickly. Mitov, Jensen, Devlin, Knuster, Milne, Keskinen at left wing back, Armstrong and Shinnie in the midfield, Awashish and Carlson ahead of them, and Lazetic up front. I thought we'd kicked off there, but a little false start from Aberdeen, who are playing all in white with gold trim. AEK Athens in their home kit, yellow with black stripes, as the ball is rolled back to Dimitar Mitov, and he launches it long, looking for Marko Lazetic, who loses it in the Athens sky. Looks like a pretty impressive atmosphere already in Athens. The ground not full though, one section closed due to a UEFA ruling. AEK's fans punished for some of their behaviour earlier in this competition, displaying an offensive banner when they played Anderlecht here in qualifying. And it's AEK Athens who are on the ball now, trying to come forward, but it's cut out at the back. Topi Keskinen, like I say, the left wing back tonight. That's where he played against Shakhtar Donetsk in Aberdeen's last European game, as Jack Milne has the ball in his own box. A little swerve away from the attacker, and he's able to launch it long. Aberdeen have the throw on the far side, still in their own half. Still 0-0 with a minute gone. But Aberdeen looking to just get their foot on the ball as Mirko Nikolic, the AEK Athens head coach, watches on. And what kind of start will Jimmy Talline want from this team, Willie? Because he's talked about a fast start. He's talked about it ahead of the Dundee game, where they went on to win 4-0. Will he just want the same again tonight?
I think it's about concentration, to be perfectly honest, early in the game. Depends on the opposition as well, how they take the game, whether they have a fast start and try to put you under pressure. At this moment in time, it looks like AEK are quite happy to keep possession and not really troubling Aberdeen. But the last thing you need is to lose an early goal. That's for sure. It's an intimidating atmosphere out there against a top quality side, so you want to stay in the game as long as you possibly can. If you get an opportunity or two, of course, in the first half, you hope to take it. And by the looks of the setup, with the three kind of strikers up top, it's a very offensive looking lineup from Jimmy Talline.
Yeah, almost a 3-4-3 with Carlson and Awashish on the shoulders of Lazetic. Lazetic, who had almost gotten onto a ball, slipped into the box there. As it was, Aberdeen won the throw deep in the AEK Athens half, but they've given up possession. And now Oberlin does well to get away from a couple of defenders, but Alexander Jensen intercepts in the midfield and wins the free kick as well off Koita. And this could be a chance for Aberdeen. It's a pretty central position, maybe 30-40 yards from goal. They tried to take it quickly through Stuart Armstrong, but the referee brings it back, and I think that's maybe for the best, will it?
Yeah, I think it was taken too quickly, to be perfectly honest. And you know, from an Aberdeen point of view and from an away game in Europe point of view, I would suggest that it was a wrong decision. You want to just, calm things down, take your time, have a look, maybe just pop the ball into the box and, allow your centre backs to get up as well.
Instead, Carlson's going to go for a goal, and it's just wide. It had Thomas Strakosha scrambling. Well, Willie, you were just saying that we thought that was going to be a delivery into the box. I think everyone would have assumed that. Instead, Carlson's tried to catch the keeper out. He just gets a little bit too much swerve, and it goes past the goalkeeper's right-hand post. But that's the attacking intent from Jesper Carlson there. Yeah,
well, what do I know? I think it's only 6 odd games I played in Europe, but that I wasn't expecting that strike from Carlson. It was an audacious effort, wasn't it? Almost catching the goalkeeper out and sneaking inside the post. So yeah, he's got quality, that's for sure.
He certainly does, as AEK Athens try and come down the left through James Penrice, getting his first touches of the ball, but it's a poor pass, it's picked off, and instead Aberdeen come forward. Brilliant pass from Awashish to find Jensen. Penrice sliding into the feet of the Dane, but I think Jensen had just lost his footing before the challenge, or else that would have been another free kick for Aberdeen. As it is, AEK Athens have the ball in defence and are just patiently knocking the ball around. But again, you saw the counter-attacking threat that Aberdeen possess, and with Keskinen on the left-hand side, Jensen on the right, those are two players who can certainly get up the pitch, Keskinen in particular. But it's AEK Athens who've got the ball in midfield. They give it away again. Shinnie hooking it away, and it comes all the way back to Strakosha in the AEK goal.
Well, it's adventurous. I think it is a free kick. I think Aberdeen were unlucky not to get the benefit of the doubt on that occasion. But it's on the front foot. I mean, it's 3 up top. I mean, they're in a line now playing, and your 2 supposed sitting midfield players are well up as well. So Jimmy Talleen has been really positive at the start of this game, and it's working well for them.
Yeah, they've won the ball high up the pitch again. Now Ashish just giving it away, but Aberdeen's shape is really nullifying AEK Athens, although there's a lovely turn there from the AEK Athens midfielder, and it's now Koita on the ball. I think that was Marin with the turn. And now AEK Athens have it, just coming over the halfway line now. 5 minutes gone, still 0-0 in Greece. Eliasson knocking it back to Mantalos. The ball could come in here. Jack Mill gets a foot away, and Knuster and Keskinen trying to clear. It's not the best clearance though, and it comes back to Koita. The game being played at a slightly slower tempo as Penrice tries to find Koita on the left-hand side. Very advanced now in Aberdeen's half. Koita trying to turn away from Shinnie. He's right down by the corner flag now. Shifts it away on the right foot, plays a low ball inside. AEK still with the ball on the edge of Aberdeen's box. And it will just come back to the AEK defence, who has pushed up into the Aberdeen half. It's a big pitch. They're over the halfway line now. Relvas on the ball. Now up to Mantalos again, the AEK captain. Penrice trying to turn away from a man once described as his best friend, Nicky Devlin. The two played together at Livingston, know each other very well, and of all the handshakes before the game, theirs was probably the most friendly. It's Aberdeen who have the ball now. They've won it back, and they're trying to counter-attack again on the left-hand side. They've got numbers. Keskinen running forward. Carlson's outside him. That's where the ball goes. Carlson trying to step back inside. Stuart Armstrong could open up. The shot is blocked at close range though. Comes back to Carlson, tries the curled effort to the back post. Penrice heads away, but it's picked up by Awashish despite Nicky Devlin being there. Devlin would have rather just taken the ball first time. Instead he finds Shinnie. Jensen trying the underlapping run, and Koita barges Shinnie off the ball, and now it's AEK Athens' turn to try and come forward. Bit of a loose touch there, but AEK still coming forward. The ball slipped to Pierrot just on the right-hand side of Aberdeen's box, plays it low, and Armstrong has to get a foot in. Toppy Keskinen clearing. Danger still not quite gone, but there's Shinnie getting another foot in. Awashish trying to find Carlson over on the left. That's a fantastic ball. I thought there would be way too much on it, but instead it's picked Carlson out perfectly, and he's now into the box trying to shape it onto his right. It's blocked again. It's been end to end, and it's still not out of play yet. A little bit breathless in the opening few minutes. Armstrong now, as Aberdeen try and settle, they lose the ball, and AEK Athens come forward end to end as the ball is played towards Pierrot over the head of Devlin, but the direction not the best. And now AEK Athens will just knock it back to Penrice, and everything will slow down a little.
Yeah, you know, it's fast and furious, but a lot of good football played as well. A lot of nice combinations, and you know, I think Aberdeen in particular with Keskinen, who's a ball carrier, if he gets a bit of space in front of him, he'll get to the other end of the pitch. I thought Carlson though should have done better. He had Lazetic up there. He's got to play Lazetic in. I felt if he did, it would have been a good opportunity. This
is a good opportunity for AEK, but Jack Milne able to head away the cross. It drops to the edge of the box, but fired well over in the end. Decent chance that for Pineda.
He should do better, Pineda, shouldn't he? It's not a great header away. Was it Keskinen that had the header? Yeah. And you know, the strike from outside the box, you've got to hit the target. Quality that's on the pitch tonight has got to be better than that. And Pineda just leaning back, and I think he's trying to hit it with the outside of his instep and not really making great contact with it. But hey, you know, from the spectator out there, it's been a great start to the game.
Graham Shinnie just lets the ball roll under his foot as Aberdeen built from the back from that goal kick. It looked like a pretty risky option, but it's paid off for him. Aberdeen coming forward again. Lazetic trying to get on the end of this one. It was a long cross. In fact, it was Awashish who almost got there, just peeling in between two defenders. and he couldn't direct that on goal. And it has been, we're 10 minutes in, it's still 0-0 between AEK Athens and Aberdeen here, BBC Radio Scotland, but it's been a much better start from Aberdeen than you might have expected.
It's been positive, yeah. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I thought they would have been a little bit more restrictive in their movement forward, but Jimmy Tillene's got them out there playing in the front foot. Yeah, they can go back to a back five, but everybody else is piling forward.
It's AEK Athens coming forward now. Eliasson's cross too much on it, and Penrice able to pick up on the far side. He just knocks it back to Oberlin Pineda, the Mexico international, who's getting involved plenty early on. As Koita strikes, and it's AEK Athens who go in front. It's a brilliant low strike from the edge of the box. Abubakari Koita puts the hosts ahead, and Aberdeen's positive start comes to naught. They are stung by that low effort. AEK Athens 1-0 ahead in Greece.
It's quality, although I would suggest with three central defenders in there, you've got to close them down earlier. Koita getting way too much room. He has been impressive though in early stages, just for over 10 minutes gone. But he hits that one with outside of the left foot. Hey, it's accurate, it's pinpoint, it's laser-like, isn't it? And I don't think Mitov has really got a chance. Not too sure if he sees it. Maybe he's a little bit unexpected. It's a tight angle. Does it take a little deflection on the way through? I'm not 100% sure. But it's right into the far corner. It's a magnificent strike. Takes a little bounce before Mitov as well. Could he have got a hand to it? I don't think so. I think it's really powerful, the shot. It's a tight angle. It's an unexpected shot, I would suggest. I think the central defender's got to be quicker in closing them down, but take nothing away from Koita. That's quite a sensational finish.
And that's it, Will. You said they're unexpected. It's a strange angle to try and hit that from. He kind of squares Graham Shinnie up on the edge of the box. He's near the corner of the box as well, takes it onto the left. Shinnie lets him run, and like you say, he arrows it across the keeper, and it bounces just in front of Mitov, one of those awkward ones for the goalkeeper, and it gives AEK Athens the lead after 12 minutes. Like we say, Aberdeen had made a really positive start, and they're coming forward again now. I think it's Kanuster trying to play it back to Nicky Devlin. Rides the challenge, plays it up to Awashish. The touch just a little too loose, but it's Penrice who has the clear, and Aberdeen have the throw. They don't look too stung by that goal.
No, it's so disappointing. I'm sure they'll be feeling it, after such a positive start. But having played in European football on many occasions, when you're playing against quality opposition, they can score from anywhere, and that's why you've really got to be totally concentrated. And I just felt that the three central defenders perhaps switched off a little bit, thinking he's not going to try it from there, he's not going to find the back of the net. But that was a wrong decision. It's a top quality strike, fantastic finish, but there's still plenty of time to turn it round. Aberdeen have started extremely well, but obviously in the back foot now with that goal going in.
Well, they've got a free kick here. It's Rota, the right back, who with a kind of scissor challenge on Jesper Karlsson from behind. He does get the ball, but gets a heck of a lot of the player as well, and Aberdeen will have an opportunity to curl this one in. It's really far out on the left hand side, but in the AEK Athens half, I don't think we're going to see Jesper Karlsson try and strike from this kind of range, although
don't speak too soon.
It's hard to predict. There's plenty of bodies forward. This time it is across to the back post, but far too much on it. It just bounces out harmlessly. I think Jack Milne was maybe the man he was after. As the kind of lasers, you see this in Europe sometimes, the laser pointers from the home end are kind of flickering in Karlsson's face, the neon green lighting up his features. It's not great to see that. I don't think he can blame that for that delivery though.
No, he can't. You can see what he's trying to do. He's trying to put it in with a bit of curl and a lot of pace towards the back post, but he overhits it. It's disappointing because, I'm saying they might not get too many opportunities like that. They might get opportunities like that because they're playing so offensive, Aberdeen, but when you get that chance, try to deliver, try to make the opposition actually defend the situation, and on that occasion he didn't do that, simply didn't do it.
It's Aberdeen who have the ball inside their own half. Shinnie getting crowded out though, and it bounces back to Nicky Devlin. It's been a chaotic start to this game as Koita goes down, and that will be an AEK free kick inside the Aberdeen half, about in line with the 18-yard box, but further out to the left, but it just feels like Aberdeen can't get kind of any patterns of play, and instead it's AEK who are enjoying creating this chaos and thriving in the open spaces that it's creating.
Yeah, I think at this level though, you've got to think your way through games as well. You know, it's okay having the energy and the desire and the drive to go forward, but you know, you're on their turf, it's a hostile crowd, it's a good quality team, so just settle down and make sure you're not giving away free kicks like this, because you know, it's a very dangerous situation, a difficult one to defend.
It certainly is. Penrice, I think that's Mantalos over the ball. Penrice to deliver, comes to the back post, there's the header, Mitov scrambling, it's off the post, and Shinnie gets it away. Another big opportunity for AEK as Mantalos comes forward again. The low ball in, Jack Milne able to clear this time. But there is another huge opportunity for AEK Athens to try and extend their lead. That would have made it 2-0 after 15 minutes, but instead the header comes back off the post and Aberdeen scramble it to safety.
Yeah, you know, just what I was saying, don't give away free kicks like that. You've got to think about the game as well. And Graham Shinnie giving away the free kick, the referee having to speak to him, and the delivery into the box, and then I think it's one of the two central defenders, maybe Vida or Ralvas, that actually gets their head on it. So you're talking about a big target there. He's a tall centre back, he's got to be picked up. So poor defending, and very, very lucky not to be 2-0 down.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was Felipe Ralvas, the Portuguese centre half, scored 2 goals in his first 3 games for AEK Athens, only signed in the summer. Clearly a goal threat, but he wasn't picked up there. Rose highest, nodded it down into the ground, and it then bounced off the post as Dimitar Mitov watched on. Thankfully for Aberdeen, it bounced towards Graham Shinnie and he was able to clear.
It's a great header though, great header. I mean, it was a well worked set piece, and he took it extremely well, and he's so unlucky not to see that end up in the back of the net.
There's another long ball over the top there from AEK, which looked to almost catch Max Knuster out. He's playing on the left-hand side of the 3. Jack Milne, the 22-year-old, playing in the middle of it. Lovely touch from Alexander Jensen to bring Aberdeen up the park, though. Here's Stuart Armstrong on the edge of the box, plays it to the left. It's Carlson. His pass was poor though, and he's trying to step over the ball, but it's just sticky underneath his feet, and instead it's AEK who are now coming away with the ball. That was a good opportunity for Aberdeen, but they weren't able to fire a shot, and instead this could be AEK Athens. There's room over on the left hand side for Koita. He opens up the body and he makes it 2-0. AEK Athens are punishing Aberdeen, and it's a Bubakari Kyoto again at the double to put the hosts 2-0 up in Greece, and it's turning into a tragedy for Aberdeen early on. From one end to the other, they are cut apart, and AEK Athens are soaring into a pretty comfortable lead here.
Yeah, way too adventurous and poor play from Carlson. You know, he's tried to do the little reverse pass in the AEK box, and you know, it's just transferred to the other end of the park, and it's another magnificent finish though. It's what, 3-4 passes, and he just opens up his boot inside the box, tight angle again, picks his spot, almost identical spot that he manages to find from the first goal. And Aberdeen, albeit you like to see Aberdeen going forward, but they've left themselves totally open to the counter there. And my goodness, Koita, how much quality has he shown in the first 15 minutes of this game? Is it 15, 18 minutes we're talking about? So Aberdeen really in the back foot now, and probably only themselves to blame. I think the first goal, it was a free kick given away. The second goal, it was Carlson not playing the proper pass and giving possession away, and then no organisation defensively at all.
And that said, Aberdeen have gotten into a few good positions but haven't really tested Thomas Strakosha. AEK Athens have gotten into good positions once or twice, and they're 2-0 ahead after 19 minutes. Abubakari quite up with the goals. He'd only scored 2 goals this season before tonight. He's doubled that already. The Mauritanian international signed for €4 million last year after a prolific spell in Belgium. You can see why AEK Athens paid all that money for him. He has been electric tonight, and I'm sure you'll be eyeing up that match ball. As for Aberdeen, 2-0 down inside the opening 20 minutes. How quickly, I suppose, do thoughts turn to firstly, damage limitation, and secondly, that massive game on Sunday that they've got against Hibs?
Yeah, you know, I don't think Jimmy Tillene's going to be thinking about it just now. I think as the game goes on, and obviously what you don't want to be going into that important game at home against Hibs is on the back of a 4-5-0 defeat, which can affect the confidence and the belief in the players. So yeah, I don't think he's feeling or he's thinking about that at this moment in time, because we're still looking at players pushing up the park. I would be wary of that. I think that particularly the midfield players, the two sitting midfield players, should just sit in front of the three centre backs for a period of time, just to get over this 2-0 deficit that they've got, and try to avert going a third goal going in, because that would really be so difficult to deal with and so difficult to come back from.
It certainly would. The AEK Athens fans in full voice now. They will be very happy with the reaction from their team. Like we say, they were unbeaten in the league until this weekend when they lost 2-0 to arch rivals PAOK in the double-headed Eagle Derby. Pretty catchy title. And it seems that they've really had a reaction to that. There was 6 changes to the starting 11. Those players have seized their opportunity in the opening 20 minutes as Pineda turns on the ball looking for Koita. Penrice making the overlapping run as AEK Athens look to sting Aberdeen again. The ball from Razvan Maran out to the right hand side. Rota, the right back, poor touch, and Armstrong can play it to Carlson. He has once again been Aberdeen's outball pretty religiously as Topi Keskinen tries to get to the ball, but he's brought down. No free kick there, and not too much of an appeal from the Finn either. I thought there might have been a free kick there and another chance for Aberdeen to swing in a set piece, but no. The referee, the Belgian referee Jasper Verguta, not interested. As Pineda spins away from 1 or 2 challenges and then floats the ball straight out of play on the right hand side. That will give Aberdeen another little shot on the ball. It has been a really tough start to this game. They've come out with what looked like a really good, positive attitude. They played some nice attacking football, getting the ball to Jesper Karlsson as much as they could. And instead, they find themselves 2 goals down, but they come up the left-hand side again. Here's Topi Keskinen, offered too much of that ball to Domagoj Vida, the Croatian centre-half, and it will be a corner for Aberdeen.
I think Topi Keskinen, he's a really good ball carrier. He'll get you from defence to attack, and he's very positive in everything that he does, but he's just got to think more about the game. You know, his touch was poor there, but some of his crosses at times let him down as well. If he can show a little bit more composure, he'll be a far better player.
This will be an in-swinging corner from the left-hand side for Aberdeen. Carlson with it. There's an Aberdeen player down in the box, an AEK Athens player down in the box as well. Instead, it's James Penrice who's hooked it out for a throw. Just trying to see who that is. I think it might be Nicky Devlin who's holding the back of his head alongside Petros Matalas. Let's have a look here. Devlin running in. He gets caught there, I think, by Piero, who's jumping for the ball. Nothing malicious in it, but catches Devlin maybe with his hip or his left thighs. He's jumping to head that one away. A sore one for Nicky Devlin, no doubt.
Yeah, it was rather untidy, totally accidental. You just hope that Nicky Devlin's okay, but he took, as you said, a knee or a thigh or a hip to the head there as he went to ground. The problem with modern day football, of course, is there's a lot of wrestling goes on in the box, and it looks really untidy at times, and that was an untidy situation. But at the end of the day, it's accidental. He's still receiving treatment, but I think he'll be okay.
Yeah, I certainly don't think that one's going to be looked at by VAR. I think the players, they were quite happy to take on some water while Nicky Devlin receives treatment. Currently 22 degrees here in Athens, a humidity of 79%. And I think you've kind of been able to see that affecting both sets of players, the way the game's gone early on. It's almost like the kind of dying stages of a European knockout game, the frenetic end-to-end nature of it.
Yeah, I think Jimmy Tillene should be applauded for the appetite that his players have shown to get forward. But at the same time, as I said a little bit earlier, you can't play these games just with the heart. You've got to play it with the head. You've got to think a little bit more about the game, and I feel that that's where they've been let down. 2 quality finishes though as well, so it's not as if you're looking at really poor goals. You're not kind of a pointing the finger, although I think the first one had to be closed down a little bit earlier, but at the same time still a magnificent strike, and you're talking about a quality player here, and with that first strike with the left foot and then just opening up with the right foot for the second one as well.
Of course, Aberdeen still have 4 more Conference League games to come after this. AEK, Larnaca, Noah, Strasbourg and Sparta Prague still to come. I was saying to you beforehand, Willie, 7 points wasn't quite the cut-off, but 7 points and a decent goal difference and a lot of goals scored. That would have gotten you through to the next stage of the Conference League last season. 11 points or more would have gone straight through to the round of 16. Do you think there was still, obviously a hope that Jimmy Tulin could have nicked a point or maybe even 3 in this game?
Yeah, I think away from home against this quality, I think a draw would have been, you would have grabbed that, taken it, and they're giving you hope going forward. I think any game in Europe away from home is going to be difficult, and if you can get anything out of them, then that's how you should look at it. I think what you've got to do is take care of home advantage and try to get your 3 points at home. Listen, it's a great position to be in where Aberdeen are. The level they're playing against in Europe, the fans are enjoying it. There's a whole bunch of them over there.
Jack Milne giving it away there. AEK Athens, this could be another chance. They've worked it to the right hand side. It's cleared. No, it's not. It's in the back of the net. AEK Athens have a third, and this one has been architected by Aberdeen. They give it away on the edge of their own box. Jack Milne, under so much pressure, tried to turn away from one AEK Athens player, turned straight into another, and it was worked to the right hand side. And that looks like, I think it's Niklas Eliasson, or perhaps, yes it is Niklas Eliasson who's got the goal, the Swedish international. We can see that again, Willie. Mitov playing the ball to Jack Milne when I don't think it was really on. AEK Athens pick it up, work it to the right hand side, and Eliasson finishing past the keeper despite the despairing lunge of Nicky Devlin, who tries to clear it and just ends up in the back of the net with the ball.
He almost manages to retrieve a situation that was a case of self-harm, to be perfectly honest. First of all, I don't know what Mitov is doing, passing the ball to Jack Milne. There's two AEK players right on top of him. He then tries a little back heel to recover the situation instead of maybe just, trying to clear the ball. And then once they've got possession, of course, everybody's out of position. And Eliasson, he finishes it well. Nicky Devlin's a little bit unfortunate he doesn't get more on it to keep it out. But at 3-0 this early in the game, we haven't played 30 minutes yet. In that one in particular, you're not talking about fantastic play from AEK. You're talking about self-harm. You're talking about, just playing with a bit of sense. Mitov playing with a little bit of sense. You're 2-0 down. Don't give them another opportunity. And then Jack Milne trying to be a little bit over elaborate with his control and just off him possession up, and it's 3-0.
And in the early stages of this game, I think both sides were maybe a little bit sloppy in possession. That was leading to that kind of chaotic nature. In the last couple of minutes, it's all been going the way of AEK Athens. Aberdeen look a little shocked, a little frazzled, and the ball's come into the box again. This time it's Jack Milne able to get it away. 29 minutes gone. AEK Athens 3, Aberdeen 0, and it looks like it could be more as Koita's into the box on the right foot this time, works it back onto the left. AEK Athens just about hang on to the ball there. Koita looks like a man with a mission. He wants that hat-trick, he wants that match ball. And the way Aberdeen are defending tonight, he very much could get it. It's AEK Athens coming forward again now. The ball worked out to the right-hand side by Mantalos, plays the 1-2, that's brilliant. AEK Athens into the box, can they pick out the pass? No, they can't. It's Milne who heads away, it comes to the edge of the box, it's cleared. Aberdeen, they're defending at the moment has been absolutely dreadful, and AEK Athens, if they really fancy it, could really put them to their sword tonight.
I think they do fancy it. Listen, they're having fun. That's what I would say. AEK, you're talking about top quality. You're talking about maybe a little bit apprehensive, slow build-up in the early part of the game. They've now got the 3 goals. You know, they're trying to turn it on. They're trying to entertain their fans. Aberdeen are really struggling. It's desperate defending at times, and you worry for them. I worry for Aberdeen at this moment that it could become an embarrassing result for them. They really do have to think a little bit about what they're up to out there and make sure that at least defensively they're strong. I think forget about going forward, to be perfectly honest, just now. They need to recover.
Well, AEK Athens are into the box again. It's just wide. Dimitar Mitov watches it sail past his right-hand post. The shot with the outside of the foot there. I think it was the captain, Mantalos. Well, this was a replay there of Nicky Devlin clearing away Mantalos' first strike. In fact, it was the right-back Rota looking to get in on the action as he curled it with the outside of his right foot. Well, I was looking up Aberdeen's heaviest ever European defeat, more in trying to do some good preparation rather than expectation.
Don't tell me I was playing.
I won't go into it too much, will I? It was, I think it was 5 goals. A couple of occasions they've lost by 5, so they're going to make a change here after 31 minutes, and I think that probably tells you everything you need to know. Topi Keskinen is the man replaced, and Alfie Dorrington is coming off. That's definitely not, I think we can say definitely not an injury. That is a tactical change.
Yeah.
Alfie Dorrington coming on to replace Topi Keskinen, who's not looking too happy down there on the bench, and Dante Polvara puts an arm round him. That tells you how it's gone for Aberdeen tonight. 3-0 down, making a change after half an hour.
Well, it's a defender that's coming on. We'll just have to wait and see what they actually do. I would imagine that Nicky Devlin would be one of the wing backs now, and that Dorrington would be the centre back. You know, Nicky Devlin coming out to the right, and no need to change Jensen to the left.
Gone out to the left, yeah.
So it's just a little swap over, and then you've got the 3 centre backs. So Devlin to the right, Jensen to the left, 3 centre backs there, and you know, I think Jimmy Tillina's feeling the way I'm feeling just now. This could be embarrassing, and you don't want that going into this game on Sunday. So it's a case of trying to shut up shop.
Yeah, after 2 positive results, a heavy defeat here would really feel like it was almost back to square one, I suppose. James Penrice now coming forward again for AEK on the left-hand side. It's worked back into the middle. Pineda shifting it across to Rota. He nods it down to Eliasson. Attacking the right-hand side of the box, pulls it back. The cross comes in. There's the header. Mitov with the save. An important save. It was pretty much straight at him, but he got down well and got to the rebound as well. That was Piero this time with the header. It was a good ball in. Piero getting in front of Dorrington. Mitov actually had to dive to his right to make that save. Well, stopped by the Bulgarian keeper, but Aberdeen really on the ropes in Athens.
I don't know how Piero misses that one, to be perfectly honest. He does everything right in terms of Dorrington just on the park. So he goes behind Dorrington. Dorrington doesn't see him then coming over his shoulder. He then gets himself in front. He's not offside, by the way. That is a huge opportunity for him. And the header, if he just puts it either side, okay, you can say Mitov does well to save it, but he doesn't have to really dive, doesn't have to really stretch. If that's a proper header from Piero, that's the 4th goal, and it does get to the embarrassing stage. So even with that change, Dorrington coming on, Aberdeen's still vulnerable.
It doesn't look like it's changed the shape too much. Awashish maybe coming back a little bit more defensively, but Aberdeen were able to get up the pitch there as Lazetic takes a lovely touch through the legs of the defender as the shirt almost pulled from his back, and there is going to be the booking. Yeah, Felipe Relvas goes into the referee's book for one of the most obvious fouls you'll see. It was a lovely touch from Marko Lazetic, and a little bright spark on what's been a grim night so far for Aberdeen.
Yeah, it was really good from the youngster, wasn't it? You know, taking it in and turning the centre back. He's got a hold of his jersey for what, a good 30 seconds there, trying to drag him back. There's no doubt it's a free kick, and absolutely no doubt it's a yellow card.
Well, another chance for Aberdeen this time. Again, you'd imagine Carlson will try and put this into a dangerous area, and a goal would really change the complexion of this tie, would remind AEK Athens that they are in a game. It's just not short to Awashish, who plays the ball straight towards the keeper who spilled it. There's no Aberdeen player following up, and the chance is wasted. And when Aberdeen have had these opportunities, they got into the box just a few moments ago with Awashish as well. He took a heavy touch and it went out for a goal kick. They seem completely bereft of confidence just now. It's AEK Athens on the charge again. Ball shifted to the left with Penrice. 35 minutes gone. AEK Athens 3, Aberdeen 0. We've said it a couple of times. It wasn't the worst start from Aberdeen, but AEK were clinical whenever they got forward. Abubakari Koita with 2 goals before Eliasson made it 3 and seems to have effectively killed it off as a tie. But there is still time in this first half for AEK to go forward and try and get another which would make it truly embarrassing as Lazitic tries to get on the ball and then has a little kick out. It's just a free kick, and Domagoj Vida takes it in good faith that it was just a challenge for the ball. Wasn't anything more than that, and it will be an AEK free kick.
Yeah, they're getting a lesson. Aberdeen, it's a European lesson away from home against quality. Probably what you shouldn't do, you know. Take the game to the opposition, be totally open. Yeah, it's easy in the eye, and I suppose the fans would enjoy it, but you know, at this stage, you know, it could get very, very embarrassing. It should actually be 5.
And it's Mantelas with the ball in. Vida with the header off the post again for the second time tonight. AEK Athens hit the post, a header from a set piece, and it's Domagoj Vida, the veteran Croatian, with it. He's well onside. He gets completely free of the Aberdeen defence. And I'll tell you what, it's a brilliant effort as well. It had the beating of Dimitar Mitov, but it smacks the face of the post and then goes behind.
Well, it's criminal defending, absolutely criminal defending. You know, again, he's a big, tall target is Vida. It's a brilliant header, diving header. It comes off the post again. Aberdeen, it should be 6. I said a minute ago, it should be 5. It should very well be 6, because Aberdeen have been taken apart, absolutely ripped apart by AEK at this moment in time.
And I suppose the word, Willie, that's coming to mind, we talked about the openness of Aberdeen despite their kind of positive attacking play. Is it naive to kind of go to a ground like this against a team like this with such attacking intent, knowing that it leaves you so open?
I think it is. I think it is naive. You know, at this level, playing in Europe away from home.
Well, they're in behind again. It's Piero trying to open up. He takes a touch, and it's Dorrington who gets a foot in. Piero just trying to do a little too much as he bared down on goal. The chance gone. We said it could be 6. That was another golden opportunity for AEK that goes begging.
It's just unbelievably bad in terms of the whole shape at this moment in time. You know, they need to think about it. I think Jimmy Tillene needs to think about it, but certainly the players need to as well. Piero there, he was lacking in support. You know, if he'd have had a teammate up beside him, could have slotted him in. It's another goal. He just kind of run out of options as he got towards the byline. Aberdeen getting the 2 players back, but what a lesson this has been. This first 40 minutes of an away tie in Europe is a huge lesson for this squad.
Jimmy Tillene is going to have to drag them from this pitch at half-time. 38 minutes gone. AEK Athens 3, Aberdeen 0. The hosts here in Greece have a corner. It's Mantelos with the ball in. Comes to the back post. It's headed away. Oberlin was waiting dangerously, but Armstrong able to clear out for a throw. As Aberdeen have been humiliated at times, although they've had a bit of bright spark going forward through Carlson and Lazitic and occasionally Awashish as well. At the back they've been so porous, and it could be more. I said AEK had been clinical. Well, actually, since they've gone 2-0 up, they've passed up a couple of opportunities. Koita has the ball on the edge of the box now, whips it across, and there was the chance for Mantalos. Took it first time, snatched at it, and just ends up dragging it past the post. A shot from outside the box with his right foot, and it curls past Mitov's right-hand post. He was watching that. That could have gone in, and Mitov wouldn't have had a clue.
Andrew, I'm running out of paper here, trying to write down the chances that AEK have had. You know, I can't overemphasise how good they have been and how bad Aberdeen have been, particularly defensive, in a defensive situation. Very naive as well in the approach to the game, totally open. You know, 3-0 down, it could easily be 6, it could be double that. And that's a real chances. They've had 3 real chances, but they've had other half chances, maybe perhaps another 3 half chances as well. And Aberdeen are just spectators, and it's a case of shooting in at times. So it's been just the worst possible first 40 minutes. John Tulane having a word with Nicky Devlin, but there's not many words that are going to solve this situation out, to be perfectly honest, other than, you know, just trying to shore things up. There's not much action just now as a AEK player gets some treatment there, but
yeah, that's Petros Mantalos, the captain, who went down off the ball, and it's resulted in this little break with, I think you see Jimmy Tulane talking to Nicky Devlin. I'm not sure what he can impart at the moment as Mantalos trudges off. I'm yet to see an AEK player down there coming on. It looks like maybe a problem with his groin. I've just had a quick peek at the stats as well, Willie, while that was all going on. 68% possession for AEK Athens. They've had 12 shots, 4 on target. Aberdeen, by comparison, 32% ball possession, 3 shots, none on target. The XG, 1.5 for AEK Athens, 0.08 for Aberdeen, which tells you a little story there as well.
Yes, indeed. They've got 3 goals. They've hit the post twice. Piero had a header from 6 yards that he should have scored as well. So, you know, they've had various strikes that have just whizzed by the post as well. So when you add all that up, it's really a poor. It's a disastrous first half for Aberdeen at this moment in time, and I think it very damage limitation is the phrase that comes into my mind at this time, looking ahead to the game on Sunday.
It's Aberdeen who have the ball at the moment, just knocking it about the back, and Jack Milne getting it out to Alfie Dorrington. Came on as a sub for Topi Keskinen just a few moments ago. Awashish with the ball forward to Lazetic, and that's been the way of it for Aberdeen. It doesn't come off, it comes through to the goalkeeper. Lazetic chasing shadows there. They've tried that long ball forward a couple of times, it's not worked. Lazetic, of course, only his second start for Aberdeen. He started the 3-2 loss to Shakhtar Donetsk as well, but then got that winner, that late winner against St Mirren. Took that goal brilliantly and earned his start tonight, but it's not worked out for him at all, as AEK go direct themselves this time, and Aberdeen able to repel this attack as it comes back to AEK just outside their own box. Relvas knocking it to Domagoj Vida, and a lot of patience in the AEK Athens play. They're very good at selecting exactly when they're going to up the tempo, going to try and pick that pass and pick the hole in the Aberdeen defence, and they've done it numerous times tonight. As the ball comes back to James Penrice on the halfway line, but there's a foul there on Koita. I think he's quite happy to play on and keep knocking the ball about. Just a minute and a half until we hit the 45-minute mark. AEK Athens 3, Aberdeen 0.
They're a top quality side, you know, and Aberdeen have got to, or they had to raise their level. They haven't raised their level. They've been way too open, and they've gave far too many chances away. And you know, AEK are now absolutely having the ball. They're loving it out there, and their fans are loving it as well.
They're toying with Aberdeen at the moment, able to keep the ball for long spells. And it's Rota who turns back, looking for Eliasson on the right-hand side. All the way back to Domagoj Vida, a name you might recognise, the Croatian. Key part of their runs in recent World Cups, of course, getting to the final in 2018 and getting to the semis in 2022. Been at AEK for the last couple of years though, and he's enjoying himself tonight. It's actually a new centre-half partnership between Relvas and Vida. They've not played together this season, but they've not been tested really at all by Aberdeen so far, as Penrice has the ball, gets into the Aberdeen box, whips the cross across the face of goal. No takers in the middle. Mitov can watch it behind for a goal kick, but AEK Athens clearly want a fourth pretty quickly.
They do. It's just overhit by Penrice. The idea was right. If he'd hit it a little bit lower, Piero might have been on the end of it. He's the type of striker that you would assume would enjoy that type of crossing. Big, tall, physical specimen as well. He had that opportunity a little bit earlier to his head as well, and I thought he made a poor effort of it. But Aberdeen, they're not contesting. They're not getting close enough to AEK players. It's just a case of folding back and trying to make sure that they're not going to be exposed on too many occasions. It's been a real test for them in this first half. I don't know how Jimmy Tillene is going to turn it round. That his half-time talk is going to be very difficult indeed.
It's a big ask. It's not a good night for Scottish clubs in Europe as AEK Athens get the ball into the box. This one's headed away. Brann have just taken the lead against Rangers, deserved lead apparently, as well as another shot comes in, and it's cleared this time by Mats Knuster. Aberdeen backs to the wall, defending again. 5 minutes of additional time. We've played one of them so far in this first half. AEK Athens with that 3-goal lead, and they've got the ball now just inside their own half, but Aberdeen have been miles off it tonight. They are miles off their hosts as well. They have been completely outclassed in this first half, as AEK Athens just knock it around, working it from side to side so easily, and James Penrice has lots of room to run into, lays it off to Koita, shifts it to the right hand side again. Rotta's come forward, he thinks about the shot at goal, it's clipped towards Penrice, who nods back into the middle. Dorrington with the header. Armstrong able to take a touch and try and play it away. It hits the arm of Pineda, whose reaction is pretty obvious. That has hit his arm, and Aberdeen will have a free kick. And you'd imagine with 3 minutes left, Willie, that they might just want to try and keep the ball and get to half-time at 3-0.
Yeah, they're just filling in space now, Aberdeen. I think that's a message that's come on from Jimmy Tillene. It's a back five, the two sitting midfield players are just sitting as well. The two supporting midfield players that are there to support Lazetic are not really making an effort to get up there. Maybe in the long balls they will make an effort, but they've had no control of the game, they've no control of the ball either. So it's difficult for anybody to see how Aberdeen can turn this one round, and AEK are just having a wonderful night.
But they've given away a free kick there. Graham Shinney just clipped by his marker, and Aberdeen could have the chance to get this into the box. Instead they try and work it quickly. They end up getting a throw for their troubles, and Nicky Devlin is down there to take him. Looking at the body language of the Aberdeen right wing back, they look tired, look sapped of morale and enthusiasm as he plays the 1-2 with Stuart Armstrong. Knocks it back to the former Scotland international. Good ball into Awashish. Lovely turn from Awashish. His cross is blocked though. And Graham Shinney is slow to the rebound, and now AEK will try and counter. Piero up against Jack Milne. Piero's in behind. This could be a chance for the fourth, and it's wide. Oh, I was certain that was in from Francie Piero, who got in behind Jack Milne. The Aberdeen youngster taking a loose touch to that ball over the top. Piero one-on-one. He slotted it underneath the goalkeeper, but he slotted it past the post as well. Willie, we said it could be 6-0. That could have been the 7th.
It could have been, yeah, and it should have been. Piero's got to score there. 18 yards out. Jack Milne not really defending well. The ball's played over the top of him. I think Mitov actually gets a little touch on it, although I think the goal kick has been given. Maybe I'm too generous to Mitov, and it just slides by the post. But again, Piero should score. 1v1, and Jack Milne he's not an experienced central defender. You hope that he'll learn from that, but absolutely, that's the 7th big opportunity that you know the Greek side have had, and Aberdeen very lucky, very fortunate not to see that one settling in the back of the net.
Sometimes in these games, if it's 3-0 at half-time, it tends to stay 3-0. The foot kind of comes off the gas in the second half, but AEK are in behind again. This could be the fourth. Eliasson twisting, turning, and it's off the line. This one is cleared behind. I think it is Nicky Devlin. No, it's Alfie Dorrington who's holding his ribs. Eliasson got in behind Jensen there, took it away from Milne and away from Dorrington and away from Mitov, tried the shot, and Dorrington, he's saying it hits his ribs. I wonder if this will be checked by VAR. Maybe hits his knee.
Yeah.
He was certainly holding his ribs anyway.
Yeah. I think just to emphasise that it wasn't a handball, or it didn't go near his arm, but it was very close to it. But another big opportunity there for Eliasson. He should have done better.
Ross Van Moran with the corner. It's a poor one. It's gone all the way out for a goal kick. We have played 5 minutes and then some, and there is the half-time whistle at the Hagia Sophia Stadium, and it has been a bruising 50 minutes in the end of football for Aberdeen. They started brightly. They started with inventive attacking play. It came to naught, and pretty quickly they were stung. Abu Bakari Koita getting the first after 11 minutes. A snapshot really from the edge of the box on his left foot that he drilled across the keeper and into the bottom corner. It stung Aberdeen, and they didn't quite wake up in time. He got a second pretty soon after as well in the 18th minute. 2-0 down after 18 minutes. All the plans that Jimmy Tilleen had worked so hard to put into place gone, and Aberdeen were left reeling. They conceded the third in the 27th minute. Nicholas Eliasson getting on the score sheet after Jack Milne had given the ball away on the edge of his own area. AEK worked it to the right hand side, and Eliasson just swept it under the goalkeeper. We can see some of the stats. 69% ball possession for AEK Athens, 4 shots on target, 15 total attempts. Aberdeen, no shots on target to speak of. It was a really humiliating first half at times, Willie Miller. It finishes after 45 minutes, AEK Athens 3, Aberdeen 0.
Following Scotland's teams in Europe, live on Sports Sound.
On BBC Radio Scotland. Modern life is full of wee annoying things, like posh shoppers.
Locate the poshest looking woman in there, right? And say this: excuse me, do you work here? She will lose her mind.
That's where Breaking the News comes in. We're here to help you make sense of the world we live in, making you feel super.
This summer, he's back. It's Oor Wooly.
Breaking the News, tomorrow from 1:30 on BBC Radio Scotland and Sounds.
You're listening to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. A big night for our clubs in Europe. 3 commentaries to come on Sports Sound and BBC Radio Scotland. 2 games underway, and it's not made for good listening so far for our Scottish side. Celtic at home to Sturm Graz in the Europa League. That one kicks off at 8 o'clock. We're on with you right through until 11 o'clock this evening. We'll hear the post-match reaction from all 3 managers of the Scottish clubs, and we'll get fan reaction between now and 11 o'clock. So lots and lots to look forward to on Sports Sound this evening. We'll get the half-time reports from both these games in a couple of minutes' time, but let's get to Celtic Park. That's a huge game tonight for Brendan Rodgers up against Sturm Graz. The team news will come through a little later on, but our match commentator Thomas Duncan is there for us. Good evening to you, Thomas. It feels like a big night for Brendan Rodgers and his players.
Yeah, absolutely, Kenny. And once we came back from the international break at the weekend, it was billed as a huge period in Celtic's season. I think 7 massive games in the space of 21 days, and of course they failed the first of those spectacularly in a way that I don't think anyone expected at Dens Park on Sunday with that 2-0 defeat, where they didn't really look like scoring, took an hour to get a shot even on target. And now it's all about bouncing back here in the Europa League against the Austrian champions. It'll be really interesting to see what kind of crowd is in here tonight, with ongoing protests, fans voting with their feet and things. Of course, the summer and the lack of money spent and the boards. And there's fans outside the ground actually handing out leaflets and things to give information to fellow supporters about further action. So it will be interesting to see what kind of atmosphere is in here tonight. Sturm Graz in their press conference yesterday kind of talked that up, coming here to a big stadium with an electric atmosphere, but I'm not sure that's quite what they'll be getting tonight. But we shall see. Of course, if Celtic do turn it on a pitch in a way that we've probably not seen this season so far, that can all change very quickly, and that will undoubtedly be the hope for Brendan Rodgers. And Sturm Graz are not a team to be feared, really. They did beat Rangers over there. I was over there, and they were a neat and tidy team. They were impressive enough, but we know Rangers this season are not exactly a really difficult team to score against. So they did have it all their own way in that first half. And I think if the Celtic of last season, if Sturm Graz were also in the Champions League last season, I think if they'd met in the Champions League a year ago here at Celtic Park, Celtic would have been firm favourites. I'm not so sure that is absolutely the case tonight. And I guess as well as waiting to see what kind of atmosphere, what kind of crowds we get tonight, we'll be interested to see the team when it comes out, to see if Brendan Rodgers has made any drastic changes to his team, and what kind of performance, if we get more intensity from Celtic this evening, which is the word that the manager keeps coming back to.
Yeah, thanks to Thomas. He keeps saying he's going to improve things. So far we've seen absolutely no evidence of that at all. Really interesting media conference from Brendan Rodgers yesterday. We'll hear more of that ahead of kick-off at 8 o'clock tonight. So more to come from Thomas and Pat Bonner there at Celtic Park. We'll get the thoughts of the guys on the Rangers performance. Rangers trailing by 1-0 away at Brann this evening in the Europa League. But my goodness, what a half-time score there is coming through from the Conference League this evening. AEK Athens 3, Aberdeen 0 at the break. Willie Miller is alongside us here in the studio. Willie, we've just been watching both games here, hearing bits and pieces of the commentary. How on earth do you explain that first half performance?
Kenny, Aberdeen are lucky it's 3. It should be 8. It should be 8. I mean, the chances they've created have been unbelievable. They've had 3 goals, the 3 goals well taken, 2 headers off the post, numerous other opportunities not taken as well. I'm looking at, I'm talking clear cut here, the 3 goals, the 2 off the post, and makes it up to 8 thereafter. Chances that they've had, it's been a lesson. It could get embarrassing. It actually should be embarrassing because Aberdeen have been ripped open, ripped apart. It's been such a naive performance from them. You look at the early opening stages, and I'm wondering, is the tactics right? Taking it to AEK, and when you lose early goals as well, you've then got to think about the game a little bit more. And I didn't feel that Aberdeen did that. They don't have experience at this level. They certainly don't have experience at this level as a team, but they should be better, and it shouldn't be as embarrassing as what it was in the first half. One strike, I think, Carlson, from the free kick that went by. Took me by surprise. It was that far out. I wasn't expecting them to have the strike, but it's you just hope that they can put up a defensive performance in the second half and keep the scoreline down, because they're fortunate that it's only 3-0 at half time.
When we're watching a first half like that, Willie, and a game starts like that, you're looking at the sideline, you look at the manager to see what he can do to affect change, but it sounds like Jimmy Tilleen so far has done very little.
No, he's brought on Dorrington and took off Keskinen, which I think was the right thing to do, because they were getting ripped apart. Has it helped? It's not really helped. It's an extra defender, but it's not really helped that much. They're non-existent now. First 10-15 minutes they were trying to get forward. They've stopped trying to get forward. The body language is telling us that they're looking drained. I think they're looking drained physically and mentally. They're surprised at the quality of the opposition because they've been ripped apart. They don't have an answer for it. They're not getting close to any opposition players. They're not making it difficult. And every time it gets round about the 30 yards, AEK look as though they're going to score. They actually look as though they're going to score. Jack Milne makes an error, but Mitov makes the error as well, playing the ball to Jack Milne, and he tries to do a little flick, and the ball's stolen off him, and it ends up in the back of the net. It's so naive. It's so naive. I'm watching the first 10-15. I says, well, it's positive, and Jimmy Tilleen's a positive manager, but is it wise? And it wasn't wise. I think a much more restrained approach to the game was required, a much more studied approach to the game. And the players at this level look as though, well, they haven't played at this level, so they're surprised at how good the opposition are, and it's just a case of just trying to fall back into a 5, get your 2 sitting midfielders to be defenders rather than attackers, and maybe hope that you get up the park. I doubt very much if Aberdeen will get anything. Well, they won't get anything out of the game, but I'm talking about maybe in a positive fashion, maybe creating something or getting a goal. I think the worrying aspect is that it could be more. It could be more.
Yeah, thanks to Willie. Full second half commentaries have come from Thomas Duncan and Willie Miller. Just briefly on this one, James, like Billy Dodge, have been watching both games, coming in, listening to the guys on commentary duty. As Willie said, this could turn out to be a really embarrassing night for the Dons.
Yeah, I mean, it's embarrassing enough because the performance of the first half, the goals they've given away, the chances they've given away, really, really poor, wide open against what's proven to be a decent side. I think Willie made the point on Jack Milne getting caught in the ball. I think Mitov, there's two things. Well, there's more than two. He shouldn't give it to him.
Yeah,
actually, he should. If he's going to give it to him, play it first time with a bit of speed on it. He stops the ball and rolls it into him. Jack Milne should then just give it back to him for him to clear it, but he doesn't want to put his goalkeeper in trouble. He's already been put in trouble by his goalkeeper. Tries a trick, gets taken off him, and they're punished. But it's been a really poor performance in the first half. For all speaking about Aberdeen and the way they've come back and started to look really good, they've been ripped apart tonight, and it's been a bit of a spectacle. And there's a long second half to come.
Yeah, full second half commentary to come from Andrew and from Willie. Billy Dodds looking at the game, Bran against Rangers, not a whole lot better for the Scottish side there either. They've really not created it. They've had a couple of half chance, one decent chance, one half chance. It's not been great. We've not seen any, and listen, I think we have to put anything in context. He's had a couple of training sessions, but we've not seen anything different tonight, have we?
Not yet. Same players, same kind of results. Scrappy. Mm-hmm. They've had a couple of opportunities, a couple of moments, Rangers, but they've also had a couple defensively, and we spoke about that at the start of the game. Be organised, be defensively sound, make sure, especially away from home in Europe, that you're looking as if you're going to maybe be more solid, but they've not been. The goal, they're down that left side. James Tavernier trying to play offside, the two centre halves marking the striker. I think Tavernier's want maybe Suter to spread wider, but that doesn't happen, so it's an easy ball down the channel, and they're not sure what they're going to do with it. He thinks about hitting it, and then he drags his leg out it and just sclaffs it across the goal. Nobody picks up the runner. Magoma's high up the pitch for some reason, and then Convig just taps it home. Nico Raskin try to get back in. The game's been scrappy. They've had a couple of chances. They've had a couple of chances, Bran, and they've taken one with a scrappy goal. That doesn't surprise me the way it's going. The one we did speak about, the big man needs a goal, Chermiti, but you can see he's so naive, he's so inexperienced. Stevie Thompson will tell you how to head the ball properly, but he just let it hit off him and he looks as if he closed his eyes. That's lack of experience, especially at that level. And that was a golden chance for him to start his Rangers career.
And that's the thing, isn't it, Faddy? Lack of experience, but a big price tag. Rangers paid a lot of money for Chermiti. There's a lot of expectation on him. As Billy said, the same players. Have you seen anything different in terms of the approach under the new manager?
No. I mean, as you said, it's tough to get massive change in 2 training sessions. Trying to be probably more offensive minded in that they don't need to play that extra pass. If it's on to go, they'll go. I think that Chermiti should do a lot better, but what I like is he makes a move to get himself back on side. He's calling for the pass for Raskin, which is a brilliant pass, and at the last minute I don't know if it's just overstretching, don't know if he shuts his eyes, don't know if he's in two minds of whether to go for goal or head it back across goal, but that's a player that's needing development and needing a bit of confidence. And on the goal, Suter's screaming at Tavernier to go and match his man, and he doesn't. Then Suter's got a man, Jigger's got a man, and then as Dodgy says, when he gets into the wide area, it's almost like he doesn't know what to do. The guy pulls the trigger to hit a shot, fluffs it, and then Rangers are one behind.
Yeah, they've conceded way too many easy goals, Rangers, this season. A choice of listening once again on Sports. And for Brann against Rangers in the Europa League, tuned to BBC Radio Scotland on 92 to 95 FM. 5 Sports Extra on digital with both options on BBC Sounds. For AEK Athens against Aberdeen in the Conference League, tuned to BBC Radio Scotland digital, medium wave and 5 Sports Extra 2. Again, both are on BBC Sounds. Both matches are live online at bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland.
Welcome back to our coverage of Aberdeen against AEK Athens out in Greece. Aberdeen trailing 3-0 after a bruising and at times humiliating first half. It was a first half they started quite brightly, but suddenly found themselves 2 goals behind. Aboubakary Koita getting an early double before Niklas Eliasson made it 3-0. And I'm joined by Willie Miller. Willie, we said a couple of times what the scoreline could have been, 6-7, maybe 8-0 at times.
Yeah, it could have been. And I don't think Aberdeen could have had a complaint about that, because AEK have been in top form. Aberdeen have been poor. A couple of subs by the looks of it, not surprising either. Palaversa and Polvara. Bit of energy into the midfield, bit of physicality in there as well. I did say before the game that I thought the midfield might be an area, Graham Shinnie being taken off, that Aberdeen would strengthen. So it's maybe a little bit late, but it's been a lesson. It's been a football lesson for the Dons, unfortunately.
Yeah, I still see Stuart Armstrong out there, so we're just waiting to see who the other one is. It's Adil Haushish coming off. So that midfield 2 of Graham Shinnie and Stuart Armstrong, it looks like Antti Palaversa will be slotting in there, as will Dante Polvara. So those are the 2 changes for Aberdeen at the half. That makes it 3 in total after Alfie Dorrington came on after half an hour for Topi Keskinen, who had started at left wing back. That meant Alexander Jensen shifted to the left and Nicky Devlin went from right centre half to right wing back. It wasn't really a change of shape though, and it didn't necessarily help massively, although the scoreline stayed the same. The direction of play was pretty similar, as it looked like Jack Milne had just committed one of the most obvious handballs ever, but instead it's a free kick to Aberdeen. There was a shove in the air perhaps.
Yeah, I think that's what the referee is saying there, that Jack Milne was pushed. I think the changes are important. The midfield area has got to be tighter, particularly with the scoreline the way it is. Polvara and Palaversa, big, strong physical units as well, can go in there. Besides Stuart Armstrong, give an extra body in the midfield. Carlson can then, go up beside Lazatic and maybe drop off like a number 10, perhaps, and you've still got the wing backs to give you width. So I think it's a wise move. It's a case of just trying to shore things up just now and not give AEK enough room in the midfield in particular.
Well, it's AEK driving forward just now. Rota trying to slip the ball into Piero, tries the back heel to Rota. It doesn't work in the AEK Athens right back, has his hands on his head. That almost came off, but instead they've got the ball back. Mantalos trying to slip it through, and it will be a corner. The second half has started much in the same vein as the first. AEK Athens on top and looking to score again.
Yeah, it's Alec Jensen, isn't it? He's got to keep possession there. He gives it away so cheaply. It's bad enough coming out at the beginning of the second half, trying to get some credibility back, because I think that's all that you can hope for, that credibility, and saying that Aberdeen are not as bad as the first half kind of makes them look.
Well, it's an AEK corner from the right hand side. It's an outswinger from Mantalos, the captain, in towards the back post, and it's an Aberdeen foot that gets it away. And again, someone's taken a sore one in the middle. That's Mats Knuster. He's currently down in the box. Play has been stopped. And he will receive some medical treatment. We talked about wrestling in the box in the first half. That looked like more just a coming together of bodies there. I can't really see where he's picked up the injury. He's back to his feet now, and in fact he's not going to need any medical treatment, so we'll carry on as we see Jimmy Tallene looking on the sidelines, pensive. Wonder what's going through his mind right now.
I think he would want to be somewhere else, to be perfectly honest. It's been a bit of a lesson, for him, for the players. And the thing about lessons is that you've got to learn from them, and I'm sure that's probably what he'll be saying at full time. But it's one of these games where, you want to try and cause the opposition issues, but it's got to be done in a sensible manner, and I don't think it has been.
No, it's been a tough night for Aberdeen, who are in their all-white with gold trim away kit. AEK Athens in their yellow and black stripes. Looks like a kind of Borussia Dortmund kit, if you're not familiar, in this brand new stadium as well, only opened 3 years ago, and it does look pretty impressive, I must say, although one stand closed after UEFA sanctions. I mentioned that in the first half. AEK have had their troubles, I think, with their fan base, and in fact there was a little incident in the first half where riot police seemed to go into the Aberdeen away end. We'll bring you more on that when we have it. And at the moment on the pitch, it's AEK Athens 3, Aberdeen 0, 49 minutes played, and tempo looks to have slowed slightly in this second half. It's AEK who are just knocking the ball about their midfield and defence at the moment as Aberdeen sit off them, and we've talked about damage limitation, Willie. Certainly that kind of attacking intent that we saw in the first half from Aberdeen doesn't seem to be there in quite as much volume.
No, it's gone. It's gone, and I think it's wise that it has gone. You hope that AEK kind of get lulled into a false sense of security here, and perhaps Aberdeen could get a goal back to give them some credibility, because at this moment in time, the home side are simply just keeping the ball. It's a really slow pace. No intent to go forward, and Aberdeen every intent to just close the gaps at the back and not lose any more goals.
They've lost a free kick there. Alfie Dorrington climbing all over the back of Aboubakary Koita. AEK Athens just again knocking it about. Of course, goal difference so important in this competition. They only play 6 games, and teams in this enormous league phase can be knocked out because of goal difference, or even because of goals scored. Hearts fans last season would be able to tell you that after their draw with Petro Cup in their final game. They went out despite having 7 points and a decent goal difference because they'd only scored 6 goals throughout their 6 games. At the moment, Aberdeen will be looking at those fixtures thinking, where are those points going to come from? I mentioned it again in the first half. AEK Larnaca, that's an away game before Noah, and then Strasbourg head to Pataudry before Sparta Prague away from home on the 18th of December. That'll be a lovely trip for the Aberdeen fans, I imagine, that time of year. They'd like it even more if their side could get a win. As AEK Athens continue to knock the ball around, they try and play it down right-hand side, but Alfie Dorrington cuts out, and that's Canuster has the ball now. Milne. Aberdeen trying to play it under pressure. The pass up to Polvara, just too much on it, and the American can't control it, and it just comes back to AEK Athens, and the chess match begins again.
Yeah, the good news is that AEK Athens are not really that intent in going forward. They've decided that the game's over. If you were in Spain, I'm sure the Ole shouts would be going up at this moment in time. They're just zipping the ball about, not really intent on getting forward, although
they're forward here, and this could be the chance. Jensen got there just before Elias, and Rota running onto the ball, urged to shoot by the home fans. I don't know if it is shoot in Greek, but it sounded pretty similar, as he did go for a goal but didn't quite catch it cleanly, and Aberdeen able to clear the ball all the way back with Strakosha in the AEK Athens goal. 3-0 after 52 minutes. The ball now back with Rota on the right hand side. He's come over the halfway line and he's charging forward. Eliasson to his right, that's where he goes. Jensen comes to close down. Eliasson just turns back. 4 caps for Sweden. Niklas Eliasson, a former Bristol City winger, who's ended up at AEK. He's Oberlin Pineda Gets it out to Petros Mantalos. Inside to Eliasson. AEK toying with their visitors, waiting for their moment to strike and try and find that fourth goal. It's a slack pass there, and Aberdeen can pick it off, and Mitov can clear, looking for Lazatic, who's chasing Domagoj Vida. It looks like he's got the pace to beat him, but Vida did really well to slide back and get the ball back to his keeper. Looked for a second like Lazatic would be in there.
Yeah, it was a case of pace against experience, I would suggest. Good defending from Vida, because Lazatic looked as though he was going to make up that 2 yards that the central defender had on him, but that wasn't the case. I think when you've got the type of experience that Vida has, then against a 21-year-old, it comes into action. You can think your way, as I was saying earlier, that Aberdeen maybe haven't thought their way through this game. He certainly thought his way through there. Listen, I wasn't the quickest myself, so I knew how to camouflage it when you were up against a quick player.
Yeah, Domagoj Vida using all of his experience there, applauded by the AEK Athens bench as well for his work. Well, assuming Aberdeen don't do what looks to be the impossible, it will be 3 wins in 14 this season as AEK come forward again. Mantalos trying from distance, didn't catch that cleanly. Flies high and wide. Yes, 3 in 14 for Aberdeen would be the run. Wins against Morton, St Mirren and Dundee. It's been a really tough start to the season after a difficult second half of the season last year that was, of course, crowned with the Scottish Cup.
I think the domestic scene is much more important than the European games. That's just how I feel.
Mantalos trying to slip in Piero. This could be the fourth for AEK Athens, off the post again, but this time the ball is in the back of the net. Piero celebrates, as does Razvan Marin, who is helped to his feet by Eliasson. He scores the most acrobatic rebound you'll ever see to make it 4-0 on the night. AEK Athens, we thought they'd taken their foot off the gas a little. Well, there's still something in it, still something in the tank. 4-0 down Aberdeen. This equals their record defeat in Europe now, and it could get even worse.
It's quite a finish though, isn't it? It's spectacular from Marin, because he's way beyond the ball. Piero, he actually goes down the left hand side and makes a shot that comes off the post. It comes up high, and such a spectacular finish from Marin. It looked as though there's no way he can put that in the back of the net. I thought my eyes were deceiving me actually, and when I saw it hitting the net, because there's no right to manage to get that, and it was like an overhead kick running at full speed as the ball goes behind you as well, and he manages to get it over his head and rifles it into the back of the net. That's something special.
It certainly is. Razvan Marin, the Romanian international, who only signed in the summer. You again might remember him. He cost Ajax €12.5 million a couple of years ago, but didn't really make the breakthrough there. Ended up playing in Italy, and now out in Athens. It's Aberdeen's turn to come forward, and almost a chance for Jesper Karlsson. The ball going in behind Domagoj Vida, and they may be 4-0 up, but the Croatian is really telling his midfielders what he thought of that half chance for Aberdeen. He wasn't happy at all. He doesn't want to let the concentration slip.
No, I think you've got pride, and if you're an experienced international player as well, that pride is very high, and they've got the 4 goals. It's 4-0. You certainly don't want to give Aberdeen anything that they can go away with, so I can understand how he was feeling, and it's still about concentration. Even though you're 4-0 up, you've still got to concentrate about the game and make sure that you're doing everything properly defensively, as well as ripping Aberdeen apart at the other end.
Well, I hate to bring it up, Willie. We did talk about it earlier. Aberdeen's one of their record defeats.
Liverpool.
It was Liverpool, 4-0 at Anfield. You were the captain of Aberdeen that night. How, I was going to say fondly do you remember it? It won't be fondly at all, but how well do you remember it?
It was a lesson. We were developing as a team. It was 1980, we'd won the league, we were in the European Cup, and we got taught a lesson down at Anfield.
This could be another lesson for Aberdeen to be taught, but Mantalos doesn't connect. The chipped ball over the top. He tried the, I think, side foot volley, but it just came through to Mitov rather easily.
And I hope Mole Club does the same. I hope that they can learn from this. We learnt, went on, 2 years later, 3 years later, to actually lift a European trophy. So as long as you learn from it, as long as you understand what it takes to compete in Europe, then you can accept it. It was difficult to accept at the time, absolutely, but it gave you resolve to be better, and we did get better. We got much better. Lifting the Cup Winners' Cup, then going out to Porto the year later in the semi-finals as well. So let's hope that Aberdeen do learn from this experience tonight.
It's Stuart Armstrong who has the ball at the moment in the centre circle, gets it up to Jesper Karlsson. Runs at the box, plays it to the left. Jensen with the low ball in, could have come back to Karlsson, but it's cleared by AEK. I thought he might have been able to stretch for that. Instead, AEK try to counter, and it's a free kick to the hosts. And I think Ante Palaversa has just gone into the book there for bringing down the attacker Eliasson. In fact, no, it's Mats Knuster who goes into the book.
Yeah, I think he had to do it because Aberdeen were exposed again. He was on the wrong side of the player, and he gets a yellow card. It's the right decision as well. But Aberdeen having a little foray forward, and Jensen putting a really good cross right across the face of the goal, but unfortunately just no Aberdeen takers there. But there were white shirts in the box, so a little bit unfortunate they didn't find one.
Yeah, I thought Jesper Karlsson might have been able to slide in and go for it. He's been pretty eye-catching in his early Aberdeen career so far, and he's not been able to work his magic so far tonight as Piero holds off Jack Milne, gets the ball to Koita, but Milne gets a foot in and just delays the AEK wave of attack for the time being. They're able to just put their foot on the ball, get a few more bodies forward as Aberdeen try and settle back into their shape. Almost an hour gone, AEK 4, Aberdeen 0. Eliasson with the ball on the right hand side, running at Jensen, tries to work it to the inside. Communication lines crossed between himself and Mantalos as Jensen and Knuster almost playing themselves into trouble here, and it will be an AEK throw-in. That looked easy enough for Aberdeen to try and clear, but they have been a bit rattled tonight.
They have been, yeah. I mean, they're trying to play out of really tight areas when maybe perhaps is looking for the long ball and try to hit Lazetic and get Karlsson supporting, or at least get yourself up the park rather than giving away possession deep in your own half, maybe about 18 yards out, and allowing the opposition more possession and more torture for the Aberdeen defence. So Knuster at fault on that occasion. Just to play it simple. There's nothing wrong with just admitting that you're under pressure and you've got to try and play it up to your striker.
Well, it's no small feat beating AEK Athens. Hibs are the only Scottish side to have done it. Celtic and Rangers have played them. They were both defeated. In fact, Dundee United are the only Scottish team to avoid defeat by AEK in Athens. So it's always been a tough place to go, regardless of when they played them, as Mantalos goes down to the floor holding his face. I think he just ran into the Aberdeen defender there as AEK tried their latest attack, and in fact Dimitar Mitov is holding an arm out, pointing at Mantalos, saying surely the game should be stopped. He's holding his face, but it goes on, and Lazetic does really well to win the foul off Domagoj Vida there.
Yeah, that's an example of what I was talking about with Knuster. There's nothing wrong with going long from time to time. Yeah, if you can build it up, but Vida then giving away the free kick on Lazetic. Lazetic doing extremely well. He's a big, powerful young man, winning a free kick. And at least it allows you to get up the park.
There's another Aberdeen change. Leighton Clarkson replacing Stuart Armstrong. And again, he just walks past the Aberdeen bench, and it looks a pretty quiet place at the moment. There wasn't the kind of backslapping and hugs that you sometimes get. Instead, it was just straight over to his seat, head down, bib on.
You just want to get home, actually. At this stage of the game, you just want to see it out, get yourself back and look forward to Sunday.
Flicked on there by Dante Polvara, comes back to him on the edge of the box. Devlin holding off the challenge, trying to turn Penrice. He's won the corner. A chance for Aberdeen from the set piece to try and reduce the arrears. Devlin up against Penrice, the two former Livingston teammates tussling. And there's a little high five as they go past each other there. Devlin not quite getting the better of Penrice this time.
No, but an opportunity for Aberdeen. You know, they bring the central defenders up, the tall physical players that they've got in midfield as well, so they've got plenty of height in there.
Yeah, Jack Milne is the most eye-catching, the number 22, that mop of brown hair. Carlson with the outswinger. It's Koita who heads away. Leighton Clarkson gets it on the edge, curls it back in. There was no Aberdeen players attacking it. They're trying to get to the second ball though. Jensen thinks about going down, just wins the throw. I thought that had come off an Aberdeen man last, but the throw does go the way of the Dons in white, and it's a good turn from Polvara. He crosses low, but he was offside. It was a decent ball to the back post, but it wouldn't have counted anyway.
Yeah, it's disappointing, but you know, some signs there that Aberdeen, you know, are getting back into the game. You know, it's way beyond them, obviously, but you know, I still think that they've got the rest of the season, and in particular the league campaign, to think about. And you know, any kind of a positivity you can take out of this experience then should be well received, but it has been a negative performance, there's no doubt about that, and one that has got to be learnt from.
It's AEK Athens making their first change of the night, and the man coming off wasn't best pleased. That's because he's been denied the hat-trick. Aboubakary Koita, the Mauritania international who scored that first half double, has been replaced by Derek Kuteza, a Swiss international. So quite a like-for-like change there, two similar goal-scoring wingers. As AEK link up nicely on the right-hand side, and it's Rota coming forward. Plays the ball inside. Alfie Dorrington did really well to read that. But AEK still have the ball. It's now with Kuteza, who's just come on. Shifts it onto his right, goes for goal. Mitov saves. At the front post, it comes back into the middle. Milne heads on, and Jensen has to try and clear this. Aberdeen once again showing just how open they can be, but AEK also showing how threatening they can be. They can turn it on with a flick of a switch as they look for a fifth, and the ball into the box again. Knuster with an important touch as Jensen thinks about going down. He looks despairingly at the assistant referee, but it will just be an AEK throw.
He looked at him, but he really had to fall over, didn't he, for the linesman to even think about giving him a free kick. Looked all off balance, and he should maybe go and have a look at some replays of Graham Shinney going down, because Graham Shinney is a master of these circumstances.
It's still AEK who have the ball. Eliasson with a lovely switch of play out to James Penrice on the left, making his 12th appearance for AEK since signing from Hearts in the summer. 2.2 million euros, I believe it was. A good move for Hearts. They got him on a free from Livingston. It was probably the shining light in a pretty gloomy season for the Jambos. As AEK lose out, Ante Palaversa trying to get onto the ball in the middle. It was Graham Shinney and Stuart Armstrong who started the match in the centre of midfield for Aberdeen. We saw them cut apart time and time again. Of course, Sivert Hilton-Nilsson unavailable for this with a minor injury. Were Aberdeen maybe just too attacking in that initial starting 11?
Yeah, but probably. You know, when you look at it, and you know, I'm all for attacking play. I'm all for a manager with attacking thoughts, but you've got to have sensible thoughts as well, and I don't think it was that sensible.
As Kutesa runs at Dorrington, clips it into the middle. Jensen has to be careful. Eliasson's with him, and Eliasson has the ball now out on the right hand side. It comes back to Rota. Piero wanted the cross. Instead, it comes back to Mantalos. And now Penrice. AEK building their next attack. Kutesa. Penrice on the overlap, clips it to the back post. Eliasson thought Piero was getting there. Instead, it comes to Rota. Over to the edge of the box. AEK just overworking it slightly that time. Vida trying to slip it to Kutesa, and instead it's Aberdeen who are finally able to get their foot on the ball. Devlin taking a loose touch and winning the throw. 67 minutes gone. AEK 4, Aberdeen 0.
Yeah, again, it's good play from AEK, and Aberdeen, still struggling at times to cope with, the quality that they've got out there. It's they've got pace, they've got skill. They can take the ball in and turn you in tight situations. They pass the ball well. They pass and move well too. So, all in all, when you put all that together, then it's been a difficult night for Aberdeen defensively. And the scoreline shows that. The scoreline simply shows. In fact, as we said, in the first half, it could have been much more at half-time. So, the Dons are getting away with it a little bit. And I think that's all they're looking for now. That's all Jimmy Tillene's looking for, is just a kind of a more solid performance and restricting the chances that AEK can create in this second half, and just getting back and thinking about Sunday.
Well, that's not what Aberdeen will want to see if they want to keep the score at 4-0. Luka Jovic, the €60 million man. That's how much he cost Real Madrid back in 2019 after a scintillating season at Eintracht Frankfurt. He is on the pitch now, and the ball is broken. It's a 3-on-2 for AEK Athens. Kutesa has Jovic in the middle. He might go himself. It opens up. It's blocked behind by Mats Knuster. It will be an AEK corner. Kutesa holds up hands of apology to Jovic, who'd made that run to the left. That could have been the fifth.
Yeah, he should have played Jovic in, shouldn't he? A little bit greedy, but you can understand why at 4-0. That he takes a shot on, even when you've got probably two options to play a teammate in. On this occasion it's only a corner. It's desperate defending again from Aberdeen, and perhaps they're not finished yet, the home side.
No, they made another change there. Robert Ljubicic has come on as well, so Razvan Maran and Francis Piero have come off for Jovic and Ljubicic. As Mantalos swings in, it's well headed away by Palaversa at the front post. Mentioned Dirk Kutesa there, scored 3 goals this season. All 3 of them have come in Europe. He likes this stage as the ball whips across, and Mitov has to punch away that cross. Lazetic reading the ball, sliding in. Big challenge. I don't think he actually caught any of the player, but it might come all the way back for a free kick here. It's James Penrice who's saying to the referee he's gone and studs up. It's all friendly between Lazetic and Penrice, but that could have been a nasty challenge had he caught any of the man.
Yeah, it's a free kick. I'm hoping, even though it's against Aberdeen, I'm hoping that the referee actually, has allowed the advantage to be played and brings it back for the free kick. Yeah, he has. Because Lazetic goes in, he doesn't catch Penrice, but the studs are up, the studs are showing. He's getting nowhere near the ball, and Penrice has got to actually kind of manoeuvre himself out the way of the boot coming through on him.
So it is an AEK free kick about 40 yards from goal, very central. There's no wall to speak of, and Mantalos curls it to the left-hand side, and that will be a free kick. I think Nicky Devlin felt there was an arm across the face there. Aberdeen have a free kick inside their own box. Just to look at the other, we'll look at the change first, as Kuzini Yengi will replace Jesper Karlsson. 2 players who've had very different starts to their careers at Aberdeen. Yengi has scored against Morton, but has had a rather frustrating spell apart from that. Obviously Jesper Karlsson's been really impressive. What does Kuzini Yengi have to do, Willie, to try and play himself back into the hearts of Aberdeen fans?
Well, I think he's got to be much better than what he's shown so far. If he can score a goal, that would certainly help. But if he plays the part of, a target striker, I think that is why he's on, just to get Aberdeen up the park.
But Aberdeen still quite open there. That's a couple of times now that AEK have tried to hit them on the break, but this time it was well cut out as Polvara plays it across to Jensen, just on the halfway line. Palaversa looks for Devlin, flicks it round the corner. Yengi to Lazetic. This could be a chance for Aberdeen. Lazetic on the edge of the box, goes for goal, drags it wide, trickles past the goalkeeper's right hand post, and there was a couple of options available to him there, but it just opened up in front of him. The defenders backed off, but he just snatches at the chance.
Yeah, it was decent play, wasn't it? And Lazetic, taking it on. He had Leighton Clarkson, although I think Clarkson was maybe moved himself into an offside position there. Yengi being that target man. Aberdeen now get the two up top and distracting the AEK central defenders as well. So it's maybe a bold move, but it's just a tweak on the formation that they have been playing in the second half, with the two up top and the three midfield players and the five at the back. But more promising signs from Aberdeen.
They have threatened every now and then without really testing Albania international Thomas Strakocha in the AEK goal. It's AEK who have the ball again. Oberlin Pineda, 80 odd caps for Mexico, and he's shown his international class tonight. So Aberdeen won the ball back in the AEK half, but just tried to launch it over the top, Leighton Clarkson, to no one in particular, and it'll be AEK coming out from the back again through Rota. That's a poor pass though to Mantelos, and a little tired there from AEK. And Aberdeen coming forward. Lazetic, poor option for the pass, but he's battling, he's got the ball back, he tries for goal and it's saved. It's bouncing around the AEK area, really scrappy at the back, and a really good chance for Aberdeen. The chance still there. Yengi going for goal with the header, comes straight to the keeper, and Aberdeen almost getting a consolation goal there. Lazetic, the ball breaking to him, maybe he could have done better. It was a little close to the goalkeeper, rather fortuitous how it all came about, and Yengi then with the header that just went straight at the keeper again.
Yeah, I mean, Lazetic is looking like a striker that will take any opportunity to have a strike at goal. It was a difficult one for him. It's on his left foot. It's just broke to him. It's a decent block by the goalkeeper, and then as it's returned back into the box, Yengi is on the end of it with a header, but there's no power in the cross. He's struggling to get his head to it. It's a rather weak kind of effort. Just kind of bounces off his forehead and into the hands of the goalkeeper. But for me, it's slack play from AEK. Aberdeen are giving their fans something. Late on in the game, they just have to watch that they don't leave themselves open again, and they're taking advantage of. In a way, does it really matter? It only really matters from an optics point of view. 4-0 is bad. Is 4 or 5 any difference? It's still been a lesson for them. If they could get one back, then there's a bit of positivity.
Yeah, it would rewrite the history books. It would be their worst ever European defeat if it was 5-0. They lost 5-1 to Bayern Munich in the UEFA Cup in 2008, 5-1 to Sigma Olomouc in the Europa League in 2009. Those are the results which could soon be scrubbed from the record books, as Aberdeen have the ball back with Dimitar Mitov. 75 minutes gone. AEK 4, Aberdeen 0. It's Mitov who's just having to launch that into the midfield. Polvara. I think a free kick's gone against him there. I thought he was just standing his ground, really. It was Robert Ljubicic who was felled in the air. Polvara standing his ground, Ljubicic running into the back of him and winning the free kick. There'll be another 2 changes now for AEK. Mijat Gacinovic and Marko Grujic coming on. Grujic, who is a former Liverpool youngster. They paid £5 million to get him from Red Star, but it never really worked out from there. He's had a much longer spell at Porto. Since he's gone to Athens again, it's not been the best of starts for him. He's only played 5 times since signing in the summer. Petros Mantelos, the captain, coming off, who's played over 400 games for AEK. He really is their talisman, and he is applauded from the pitch by some pretty pleased home fans as well.
Yeah, it's just a matter of seeing the game out now, isn't it? And maybe getting some players on to give them, some game time, really, to get the legs working. The game has been over and done with for such a long time now. Probably well before the first half was over, and you can see that by the kind of a lack of energy in the game, lack of real good quality. We're only seeing it in bursts. That's all we're seeing from the home side, and we're seeing a little bit from Aberdeen. Probably they've been better in the second half, and they've been 4-0 down than they have been in most of this game.
The ball came forward there. Alfie Dorrington had to just head behind. Aberdeen have won away in Europe in qualifying rounds, but the last time they won in European competition proper, I think you have to go back to the first round of the European Cup Winners' Cup back in September 1993, when one Willie Miller was the manager. Do you remember who that was up against, Willie?
Oh, you've hit me with a nasty one there.
That's a low blow. That I've not prepped you for that. I believe it was Valor out in Reykjavik.
Okay.
A 3-0 win.
Wow.
A long time.
That's what I should be doing with my spare time. I was reading the history of the games that I've played. It's usually Richard Gordon that hits me with these stats, and he always catches me out. So you're in good company there.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
It was indeed.
Maybe that's more damning for Aberdeen. Of course, the last time they've played European competition, well, I'll tell you about that in a second. It was AEK coming forward on the left-hand side. Kuteza was just cut out. Yes, they've had a couple of group stages, obviously. They had that one a few years ago where they beat Eintracht Frankfurt at home. Then you have to go back to 2007, 2008, that UEFA Cup group stage. It's been a long time as they try and come forward now. Lazetic, if he was able to flick that header on behind him, Leighton Clarkson was in space. Instead it went back towards the midfield, and AEK were able to pick up, and again it's kind of moved to a bit of a walking pace at the moment. Luka Jovic trying to slot it through. That's a good ball though to Ljubicic. Dorrington sliding away from Kuteza, and AEK just creeping up the pitch ever so slowly. Still 4-0 to the hosts in Athens. 79 minutes gone.
I think it's difficult for both teams now, isn't it, really, to show positive signs. What you maybe want to grandstand a little bit if you're AEK. If you're Aberdeen, what do you want to do? You just want to try to make sure that defensively you're sound, although they have had some forays forward and a couple of opportunities through Lazetic and the header from Yengi as well. So I think it gives Jimmy Tillene a little smile, maybe not a smile on his face, that's perhaps too much to ask for, but at the same time a little bit of hope, but another opportunity.
Yeah, Kuteza on the edge of the box. He was always trying to get away from his defender. His shot was blocked in the 18-yard box, and it just comes back to AEK out on the left-hand side, about in line with that 18-yard box. 80 minutes gone, 4-0 up. They actually lost their opening Conference League game this season, but they've got a good chance to make it 5 here. Toying with Aberdeen, nice footwork. Jovic into the box, he takes it away from the goalkeeper, and he puts it into the top of the net to make it 5. That potentially historic goal going against Aberdeen, and it's Luka Jovic, the former Real Madrid striker, who just nipped in front of Dimitar Mitov, nipped in front of the defender, took it onto his left foot and fired it high to make it AEK Athens 5, Aberdeen 0.
Yeah, and again it's a spectacular finish from Jovic, isn't it? Some intricate play in the build-up, although defensively not great for Aberdeen, and as Mitov comes out, Jovic has to take the little touch. He goes back the park as well, so you think maybe the chance is gone, but he manages with a left foot to birl on it and rifle it into the roof of the net. I think an Aberdeen player is trying to get back. I'm not sure who it was, but sliding in, hoping that it was going to be a low strike, but it's actually a left foot high riser into the roof of the net for that 5th goal.
Just a 3rd AEK Athens goal for Luka Jovic, still trying to rediscover that goal-scoring touch that he had so early on in his career. But this currently Aberdeen's heaviest ever defeat in Europe. Will they be able to find a goal to make it 5-1, or will AEK Athens pile on the misery? Kuteza currently running down the left-hand side. He's got Jovic inside. They play the 1-2. Kuteza able to get to the ball, clips it back. Jensen! Oh, it's off the line from Mitov. Jensen almost put it into his own net, but Mitov somehow scrambled back to keep the ball from going over that thin white line to make sure it stays 5-0.
Good fortune, isn't it? Because that's where Jensen is. He's no awareness of what was happening. It's a lovely little dink cross, I must say, down the left-hand side, little dink cross towards the back post, and Jensen on the way back to his own goal. He's got to manoeuvre his feet much better. Just kind of a swipes at it with his right foot as well, and miskicks it completely. It comes off his studs, and Mitov, with a desperate dive, back across the face of the goal, just manages to keep it out. But Alec Jensen, I don't know what he's thinking. He's got to show composure. No composure whatsoever. Just a huge swipe at the ball, and he's not made any contact with his instep or the side of his foot. It's actually the studs that he's made the contact with, and he goes into the ground. Fortunately for him, Mitov manages to keep it out the net.
Yeah, it's a remarkable scrambling save from Dimitar Mitov to keep it at 5. Jensen almost adding his name to the score sheet in embarrassing circumstances. 83 minutes gone, and it's been technically the worst night in Aberdeen's history on the continent, as Polvara charges in to win the ball back. Clarkson up to Lazetic, looking for Yenge. The pass off the mark. Yenge having to chase, and Lazetic, well, his shoulders are slumped, his head's down, and it rather symbolises the mood of the Aberdeen fans listening to this, I'm sure.
Yeah, difficult to rouse any enthusiasm. There's a big Aberdeen contingent that probably deserves that enthusiasm, that have travelled, to support their team in Athens. But as a player out there, probably a good bit drained. The temperature hot. They've been ripped apart as well.
Another ball forward. This one comes to Mitov. Of course, it's not been all that long since Aberdeen visited Greece. They played PAOK at the Toumba Stadium back in 2023 and did really well to come away with a 2-2 draw. Goals from Duke and Jamie McGrath back in November. It's not been the same kind of brave performance tonight. Instead, they've been torn to shreds at times at the back, and like you've said, Willie, plenty of times, it has been a lesson, a clinic from AEK Athens on how to cut apart this Aberdeen team.
Yeah, they played well, AEK, and I think it's been helped largely by the indifference in terms of performance and defensive capability that Aberdeen have shown. And thoughtfulness as well. I think just organisation, thoughtfulness, realising where you are, how difficult it is to get a result over in Athens, and being perhaps naive in the first half. Having a real go at them, leaving themselves open, and not really rectifying it quick enough either. So it's been a bad night, but hopefully one that they've learned from and they can take forward into the next games.
And you spoke about the importance of European competition versus domestic competitions for Aberdeen this season. This has been a really, really harrowing result for them. Does it change perhaps any kind of significance that was on Europe for Aberdeen?
There's another opportunity.
There's another chance here. It's Lubicic. It's blocked by Jack Milne that goes behind for a corner, but the offside flag goes up.
Yeah. Okay. The answer to that question is, you look at where Aberdeen domestically in the league, and that's more important than Europe, my book. There is money at stake here, absolutely, and you've got to take that into consideration. But Aberdeen have got to be looking at Sunday's game against Hibs to continue the good form that they've shown in the league recently, to get themselves up into the top 6 at the very least. So for me, I think you don't dismiss it, but it's second best.
Kutesa's into the box now. He's taken a lovely touch, and he's taken a lovely finish to make it 6-0. AEK Athens rubbing salt into the Aberdeen wounds, and it's Derek Kutesa. It was a sublime touch past the Aberdeen defender, and a subtle finish underneath the goalkeeper. They are running riot in Athens, and Aberdeen want this night to be over as quickly as possible.
Indeed, wide open again. Not too sure, is it? It's Alfie Dorrington, I think, that gets himself in a poor position. Kutesa takes a really good touch with the outside of his right foot, runs in as Mitov comes out, and quite calmly and coolly just opens his boot up and slots it, passes it past Mitov. But you know, again, it's a young defender, not dealing with a situation. It's just a ball over the top at the angle. He should be able to get himself into a position where, you know, it's not 1v1. He's not running back to his own goal. But once Katusha gets in front of him, then there's only one outcome, and that's going to be it's ending up in the back of the net, because he shows the coolness and the calmness and the composure to do that.
We saw a brilliant angle of it from behind. He had so long to think about what he was going to do as well. He even has time to look across for a flag. He doesn't see it going up, and he just readjusts his body completely, takes a breath and finishes it coolly into the corner. It's a fine finish. I said he'd scored 3 goals in Europe, make that 4 for Derek Kuteza, the Swiss international, and make it 6 for AEK Athens on the night. Aberdeen's evening of pain goes on, but we're in the 88th minute, hopefully not too long to go, but a really, really damaging night for the Dons and for Jimmy Tillene.
Yeah, it couldn't have went much worse, to be perfectly honest with you. I wasn't expecting a victory. I was hoping for maybe a draw. And I wasn't expecting a draw, but I was certainly hoping for a better performance on the back of recent performances where I've watched the Dons perform at a relatively high level. But tonight everything just fell to pieces. It just crumbled. The house came crumbling down on top of them, and AEK didn't have to work particularly hard to make that happen, which is a hugely disappointing aspect of this game.
At times in the first half they were flying, they looked brilliant at 3-0, and they've got the ball into the box again, they've won another corner. But at times in the second half they've really gone back down into first gear. It's been, you know, pretty composed but pretty patient and not particularly intense, and yet it's still been enough to put Aberdeen to the sword. They've got a corner now. Eliasson, the left footer, is going to swing this one in. Can they find a 7th? Inflict more damage upon Aberdeen. It's whipped to the front post. It comes across. It's half cleared. We'll come back to Eliasson. Takes it onto the left. Curls deep. There's the header. It's off the bar. There's another. Mitov with the save. Well, it's 6-0 going on 9 or 10. And Dimitar Mitov, with the aid of the woodwork and then with a good reflex save, has kept it to 6-0.
It was a good reflex save, but was it Jovic that had the header? Not too sure, but it was a good cross into the box. The header was accurate. Third time it's hit the woodwork, which says it all, really. You're talking about 6 goals to boot to, and even on the rebound it looked as though it was maybe going to be the 7th goal, but Mitov stretching and managing to keep it out the net. Blow the final whistle, you know, put the players, put Jimmy Tillene, put the fans out of the misery and the pain that they've had to suffer.
Well, here comes Kuteza again. He goes down in the box, has a little look at the referee, not getting anything there, and Nicky Devlin helps him to his feet. I think that was a look more of optimism rather than expectation. I think it was Luka Jovic there, certainly was on the rebound with that header. Like you say, the AEK have hit the bar or the post on 3 separate occasions, all from set pieces as well, all headers, and it's only 6-0, and it could have been 9 as Kusini Yengi tries to hold off the challenge of the AEK Athens player. 4 minutes of additional time, I should say. We're about 90 seconds into that, and like you said, Willie, Aberdeen just want this night to be over. They are desperate for the full-time whistle more than anything right now.
Yeah, and I think Jimmy Tillene's just got to, address, not cover it up. He's got to tell the fans that it wasn't good enough. I'm sure he can, maybe make a case that they're learning at this level, but at the same time, he's got to address a situation that just simply isn't good enough.
There's a cross to the back post. Lazetic couldn't get his head onto Dorrington's whip ball in. The AEK Athens fans not happy. They now want full time as Aberdeen are slightly higher up the pitch, but it's a poor pass from Jensen to Clarkson, and it allows Ljubicic to come forward. He's trying to dance away from a couple, instead he runs into trouble. And Clarkson tries the ball over the top, but it's a bit lax, and instead the ball will just come back to Eliasson, who's running backwards, and will just play it to his keeper, and then going down under the challenge of Leighton Clarkson. A frustrated challenge as Eliasson runs back to, I think, maybe goad Leighton Clarkson slightly, who doesn't react. There's a replay of Kutesa's goal. He was pretty happy with that one.
Zorro.
Pretty incredible celebration to match. AEK Athens have been outstanding at times tonight. They're trying to come forward now. Jovic almost slipped it through to Lubicic. Milne doing just about enough. About a minute left of Aberdeen's dreadful night, as it's going to be a throw for the hosts on the far side. Penrice flying into the challenge. It was Penrice who had allegedly given given AEK Athens all their info on Aberdeen, and whatever information he had given them, it certainly worked. AEK Athens 6-0 up in the 93rd minute, and just what a performance from AEK Athens. I know Aberdeen have been miles off it tonight, Willie, but how impressed have you been by the Greeks?
Well, hugely impressed. We're talking here a game that could easily have finished double figures, and it wouldn't have flattered AEK. So it's a case of Aberdeen licking their wounds. It's a case of them getting back home, reorganising. Jimmy Tillene trying to build up the confidence so that they can take part in this really important home game at Pittodrie. And listen, the thing about European games as well, and games midweek and then games in a Saturday or a Sunday, is that you've got the chance to put things right. You've got a chance to go back to the fans and say, look, that was a dreadful performance. We were taken to the cleaners. We've got to address that. We hope that it's an education. We've got to learn from it, and we've got to be better in Europe. But the most important thing now is the next game, and the next game's against Hibs. So it's a big ask to get the confidence back up after such a dreadful performance, and a bit of a lesson as far as European football is concerned.
And that is full time from the Hagia Sophia Stadium. AEK Athens with a thumping win over Aberdeen, their worst ever night in Europe. It started early, and Boubakary Koita scoring in the 11th minute. That arrowed effort from the edge of the box that got the scoring underway. He scored again just 7 minutes later. Koita again opening up his body, this time after a counter-attack, tucking it into that same corner, and you got a feeling there was more to come from the Greeks. Niklas Eliasson got the third, and that was it. Before half-time, you hoped maybe that AEK Athens would take their foot off the gas, that Aberdeen would solidify. Well, that wasn't the case. Razvan Marin scoring a spectacular overhead kick on the rebound from just a yard or two out, but that made it 4-0 before Luka Jovic got the fifth, finishing high into the roof of the net as he nipped in front of Dimitar Mitov. That made it 5-0. That made it the worst ever, the heaviest defeat for Aberdeen in European competition, and it was to get worse when Derek Kuteza made it 6, tucking it past the keeper when he was 1-on-1. So Aberdeen's night in Athens ends in a Greek tragedy. How will they recover from this? They've got Hibs next up on Sunday. It will be a tough ask for Jimmy Tillene to pick his players off the floor for that one. It finishes in Greece. AEK Athens 6, Aberdeen 0.
Good evening to you, Thomas. You can bring us the team news there.
Yeah, Kenny, let's hope Celtic can lift the moods around Scottish football this evening, although the mood here at Celtic Park hasn't been great this season, as we well know. Looking to bounce back from defeat at Dens Park on Sunday and avoid back-to-back defeats for the first time since 2021. When Ange Postecoglou was in the first month of his spell in charge of Celtic, Brendan Rodgers has made 2 changes to the team that lost at Dens on Sunday, both coming out the right-hand side. Anthony Ralston and Yang Hoon Jun dropped to the bench. Alistair Johnston is back after missing the last 10 games with a hamstring injury, and Arne Engels comes in to the starting 11. So it'll be Schmeichel in goals, Johnston, Carter Vickers, Scales and Tierney the back 4, McGregor, Engels and Hattati the midfield 3. Nygren I think will play on the right with Tunekti on the left. and Kelechi Iheanacho up front, the only man to score in European football for Celtic this season. Celtic desperate to get their first 3 points of this Europa League campaign as they aim to try and qualify, which, if they weren't to win here tonight, given the tougher games they've got to come on paper, it would be a real blow indeed, not to mention only darken the moods around here with a huge game on Sunday against Hearts. The visitors tonight, Sturm Graz, the Austrian champions, top of the Austrian Bundesliga by 2 points with a game in hand from RB Salzburg. They, of course, beat Rangers at the start of the month in this very competition out in Austria, and 9 of the 11 who started that victory over Rangers start here at Celtic Park this evening. The blow for them is Oliver Christensen, their first choice goalkeeper on loan from Fiorentina, picked up an injury at the game at the weekend, so he drops out. In comes Matteo Bignetti, just a 21-year-old Austrian, for his 4th appearance of the season. And Belman Beganovic is injured, he drops out, and Filip Rozga, who was injured for that Rangers game, is back fit and into the side. So they go with Bignetti in the goals, Tim Urman, Iwu, Lavalley and Karic, the back four. They go for a midfield diamond, although it could be a 4-2-3-1. We shall see, with the Slovenian internationals Stankovic and Horvat. Horvat has scored the opening goal after 7 minutes against Rangers. Toki Chukwani, the 22-year-old Dane, is also in midfield, a really strong player, great ball carrier. And Otar Kitishvili, the number 10 at the tip of the diamond, their star player with 8 goals in 11 games this season, and scored the second against Rangers. And then Filip Rozga, the 19-year-old Poland player, and Maurice Malone, the German striker, up front for Sturm Graz as they look to move on to 6 points in this Europa League campaign, as I say, having lost to Midtjylland first up and then beaten Rangers in their second game. So this will be a test for Celtic tonight, no doubt about that, but they are not a star-studded European side, and so Celtic in normal times would very much be expected to win a game like this here at home tonight.
Thank you to Thomas Duncan. Good evening to you, Pat Bonner. Your thoughts on that Celtic team?
Yeah, evening. Listen, it's a real bonus to get Alistair Johnson back. Now, whether he will be match fit, but they need him bombing up and down that right-hand side if he can do it. Really interesting to see, will it be Nygren that'll play out in that right-hand side, or will they swap him and Engels? And then how Alistair Johnson will fit in with that as the game goes on. The rest of them, I think, probably picks themselves to a point and that. But listen, the only people that can turn this around is the players. You know, they have to have the right attitude, the willingness to work really, really hard tonight, and, you know, support the player in possession, their own colleagues, but also close down the opposition when it's on to close down and stop them from dominating the game. And that comes from a real mentality, and they need the help of the fans. They need the help of the fans to back them up from that perspective. Of course, the management will make decisions as the game goes on, but the players are the key people here tonight.
Thank you to Pat Bonner. We'll hear from Brendan Rodgers just shortly. Let's then wrap things up from the two 5:45 kickoffs. It's been a sore one so far for the Scottish clubs this evening. Let's focus first of all on the Conference League. AEK Athens 6, Aberdeen 0. Willie Miller has joined us here in the studio. Willie, just describe to us what you witnessed tonight, if you can.
Kenny, do I have to? I need a bit of therapy here. Come on.
We're here for you.
Help me, you're here for me. That's good. That's good to know.
You can just summarise it. You don't have to get through every goal and talk to yourself. Well,
we've not got enough time, don't you? We're here all night. If you're wanting goals and chances,
you can see us through at the end of the programme.
Seriously, I mean, you're talking 6 goals. You're talking about 3 off the woodwork. You're talking about Jensen almost putting in the back of his net when he's tried to clear, and Mitov managing to keep it out. You're talking about another 4 or 5 good opportunities. So it's just a horror show. It's an absolute horror show. You know, 6-0 going on 10, going on 12, and they couldn't have complained if it was double figures, and that's a worrying aspect of it. So I think all Jimmy Talleen can say is that it's a learning process that they're going through. The performances, well, he's got to address that the performance is not nearly good enough, not anywhere near good enough if you want to do anything in Europe, if you want to be serious about taking points off the teams, the rest of the teams, and the last 4 games. But tonight, going over there, it was naive. You go over there, you're open in the very early stages, you're taking the game to the opposition, you've got 2 30-plus 30 years plus midfield players bombing forward. It's never going to work, leaving the back three totally exposed. The wing backs starting positions are away up the park. You've got three in front of them trying to put AEK under pressure, and it just didn't work. And as soon as the first goal and then the second goal went in very quickly after that, you have to change. And eventually Jimmy did change, and it was a case in the second half of just playing the five at the back, putting three in midfield, a couple up top. It got a little bit better towards the end, and there was some signs that they actually knew what they were doing. But overall, there's nothing more than I can say that it's not an acceptable performance. It's actually the travelling fans must be absolutely gutted, getting themselves over there, spending their money to go and support the club, to see, what was the worst result that Aberdeen have ever had in Europe. So it's a case of addressing that. Jimmy Tillene's got to address it, and he's got to take he's got to take a more cautious approach, particularly away from home against the quality opposition that he had tonight.
Thank you to Willie Miller. We'll hear from Jimmy Tillene late in the programme, and an Aberdeen fan will join us between 10 and 11 o'clock right here on BBC Radio Scotland. So thanks to Willie. Stephen Thompson, just final thoughts from you. You watched Rangers go down 3-0 away to Brann. Not a whole lot better for them either.
Not quite as bad by the sounds of things.
No.
But it wasn't great. I mean, you've got to give Danny Rowell the benefit of the doubt, because he's only had a very short period of time to work with these players, and you're not going to turn a bad team, an underperforming team, into a really good team overnight. It was always going to be difficult for him. He'd have loved to get off to a great positive start. It most certainly wasn't that. And as I said in commentary, when you go away in European football, you can't give up goals like Rangers did. All three goals defensively completely avoidable, and from an attacking point of view, for me, miles off it. Didn't create hardly any decent opportunities. The one good chance, you probably say that they did create in the match, fell to Chermiti, who fluffed his lines. So a mountain of problems for Danny Rowell to basically get his teeth into. What he can affect is the things on the pitch, on the training ground, improve players, improve the team tactically, try and improve the team performances. The big thing for him is going to be trying to improve the mentality and make this team into a winning team. For me, that's the big issue.
Yeah, a lot of work for him to do. Thanks to Stephen Thompson and to Willie Miller. James McFadden and Billy Dodds are sticking around. We're with you right through until 11 o'clock on BBC Radio Scotland. Let's then hear from the Celtic manager, Brendan Rodgers. He spoke with the media yesterday and addressed the recent dip in form and the fan disillusionment.
I love this club. I want this to be the best it possibly can be. It's not the face I want us to show. What we've seen at the weekend, both off the pitch and on the pitch, that isn't what Celtic is about for me. It's not meant to be easy. You have to stand up and fight. We're a club that's a huge institution, a remarkable history, and I'm very privileged to manage it. And in this tough moment, and it is tough, I need to stand up and really lead and see where we can improve. When you lose a game, and you lose like we did away at Dundee, then the next game is the next opportunity, and that's where we have to stand up and fight now. We need more from everyone, and I know the squad are very determined to deliver that. I can't be any more motivated to turn it around, because it's okay when you're winning trophies and playing great football and everything else. The challenge is, and we all have seen the challenges from the summer through till now, and the continuation of that. So I'm so determined to try and turn the feeling around and the feeling on and off the pitch, because for me it's not what Celtic is about, or not what Celtic should be about. We had 2 home games in the spin in this competition, and we wanted to take the points in those. We haven't done that. We'll now come up against a really good team, another big challenge for us, and we're going to be ready for that. We would always feel, no matter what team we're playing, whether it was Sturm Graz or Bayern Munich, we would always feel here at Celtic Park that we have a very big chance of winning. We studied Sturm Graz, and they're a really good side and score lots of goals, very direct, good speed. They'll come here and want to do well, but of course so do we. We're at home. We want to get our first win in the competition and hope that it can provide the lift-off for our season. It's a must-win game in whichever way you want to look at it. For us to compete in the Europa League, we want to get up and running. We want to get a performance level that can inspire that confidence, and every which way to give a better feeling to supporters off the pitch. That's what we want to do.
Right, Brendan Rodgers there, Pat. Do you think he needs to rein things in just a bit? Constantly having pops at the board. Even Martin O'Neill said he went too far with his trying to make a Honda Civic look like a Ferrari comment. And he said for weeks now, Pat, it's his job to make these players better, and he's not done it.
Yeah, I think he has to. He's got to get on and deal with what he has there in front of him. Motivate them to produce what we've been accustomed over the years. Good football. They're all technically very, very good players, but they're imbalanced at the moment, and they're not playing with a rhythm or a control that we've normally come. And confidence is a big thing in football, we all know that, but you've got to clear your mind of all the negativity. I don't think the things off the pitch is helping the team. I don't like to say it. Yes, you can protest, and I think protest without buying stuff, I don't mind that. Let's get on with it, but don't affect the players on the pitch, and that, I think that didn't help them at the weekend. And players do think about these things, they hear it, they talk about it, their families talk about it. So let's get back to really doing what they do well, but that comes from the players, as I said in my opening remarks tonight. The players have got to have the attitude, and the management has got to help them, support them, all of the staff, not just Brendan Rodgers, by the way, all of the staff. This is when you have to step up. Now, he said it himself, you have to stand up and fight more from everyone, and when you're struggling, that's when you have to really be a top manager and a top group of coaches around the players and give them that confidence, and then hopefully a goal or two will help kick that confidence up to a level where they actually start playing well again.
Yeah, Pat, I can see the players in the tunnel. Just briefly, this feels like a big game tonight to regain that winning feeling, rebuild some confidence ahead of that mouth-watering game at Tynecastle on Sunday.
Yeah, looking forward to these games, actually, you know. But for me, tonight is a huge. Brendan said himself, it's a must-win, isn't it? Yeah. You know, they've got to go out now. There's a big following here, actually, from Austria also. Sturmgrad support is very vocal over here on the right-hand side, so they will, support their team. But we've got to get the fans in this side of the stadium. There's a decent crowd here tonight. They've come out in their numbers, get behind the team right from the very off. They have to be structured. They have to know what they're doing against the team. The only positive from the weekend that I see is that they will come up against the team tonight. Probably will play in the counter-attack a little bit more also. And Celtic weren't able to deal with it at the weekend because it was more direct. Tonight, they have got to deal with it.